Perfect time, and I'll go ahead and say you're welcome. Why not? Welcome, William Bowman, and everyone who is now just tuning into the chat. We have a very special guest with us today. This is who we all know and love in Florida, William Bowman, also known as Bowman, as we like to call him as well. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well.
All right, excellent. I'm glad to have you on. Thank you very much for joining us today. So go ahead and
Thanks for
tell
having me.
us. Absolutely. Go ahead and tell us something about yourself and what it is you do.
Well, I'm a high school physics teacher. I've been teaching for 5 years now at a school in Boca. In fact, I just got done with parent-teacher conferences, so uh, it's like I can't escape physics. I love physics so much. In between my conferences, I was actually watching physics videos, so
Oh, go.
to improve
Jeez.
my craft here. But yep.
That's pretty awesome.
So
And well, today we're going to be talking about the psychology of competition again for chess. And how did you get into chess personally?
my dad taught me chess, me and my brother chess when we were very young. I think I was 5 years old. My mom likes to remind me that I knew how the pieces moved before I knew how to tie my shoes. So, but and but actually, my grandfather actually, I guess, kept the chess going because it wasn't long before I was beating my dad, and then my dad no longer wanted to play
Oh
my brother
gosh.
and I. We were both beating him, so he stopped playing us. So we had to play each other. But then, anytime I would go to my grandparents' house, my grandfather would immediately go set up the chessboard without even asking. He just knew, like, we're going to play some chess. So, and he didn't mind losing to me. So,
hmm Now,
he just enjoyed playing. So,
yeah. And were you born and raised here in Florida?
no, I'm actually from Jacksonville, Florida, or born
Okay.
and raised in Florida. Yes, but yeah, I'm not from South Florida.
Gotcha.
I was originally from Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, so you're pretty well known around the chess community in Florida, obviously. And what did you do other than, I mean, we have you as FCA board member, but what exactly did you do for the FCA?
For the FCA, I think I served. Well, I was just on the board as a I don't know what my first position was. I think it might have been vice president of the North Region or something. But
hmm
Harvey Lerman got me on the board. He called me up one day and he says, "Hey, would you like to run for the FCA board?" And because he had seen me around tournaments and he saw me interested in helping, like, with organizing tournaments and helping to run tournaments and stuff, and so he thought I might be interested in doing it.
hmm
And one thing led to another, and I eventually became president of the Florida Chess Association, which is, something I'm very proud of. I look back on those years very fondly, but I really have to credit, like, Harvey. Like, he's the one. His influence on
hmm
me is sort of what got me involved in Florida chess from, like, an organizational standpoint, um, and I've always looked up to his, like, very selfless service to Florida chess over the many years that he's been doing Florida chess. So
Yeah.
um, it was it was an honor to serve as president
hmm
and to sort of I feel like my time as president was sort of like bridging a gap between two different time periods in the evolution of our organization.
hmm
It's like a transition time. So um, the way things were done probably in a less technical sense prior to, the old timers way of doing things, and then the new young guns like yourself and others who I'm very excited to see serving and making themselves available for furthering chess in Florida.
hmm
So I feel like I'm sort of like the bridge. you know my time at Florida chess was a bridge between those two
The two different
periods.
eras. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And you definitely seen a lot of changes throughout the years. What was probably some of the biggest changes you've seen? I would say, let's
um
say both before and after you stepped off the board
like
as
Florida
a
chess
president.
in general, or just chess overall, or
Florida chess. Yeah.
so um let's see. Biggest change.
hmm
Well, definitely we did a lot to upgrade a lot of the systems that we were using in terms of, like, how we did our elections,
hmm
how we organized and managed the member database, and even the magazine, moving the print magazine to be available online
Hmm.
as well. Those were all things that sort of happened in my tenure and are continuing. Um, I can't take I can't take the credit for that because a lot of that is coming from people who were serving on the board just while I happened to be president. I have to give a lot of credit to like Brian Tillis and Kevin Pryor
Hmm.
and others for the work that they did to really push these initiatives and just improve like the internal structure of our organization. To
Hmm.
sort of modernize it and bring it into the 21st century. One of the things I did do personally, like
Yeah.
one thing I can take credit for, is getting us a credit card or before we had to write checks for everything that the FCA wanted to purchase. If ever we wanted to, like when we held our state championship and we had to put the deposit down for the hotel,
Hmm.
um, we didn't even have a card to give the hotel to say here, uh, take the deposit off of here so that we can hold our reservation. Like that wasn't a thing that we could do. And we're talking about this was in the year like 2010-ish time frame.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
crazy to think that
Roughly 10
it's
years
been
ago.
that
Yeah.
long. So I took it upon myself to you know set up an account for us, get a card, move a lot of our business from the old paper handling to a digital record keeping and getting into stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I think that helped a lot. It made our our business, our ability to do business, made much easier. And yeah,
Absolutely. So, aside from Harvey, and obviously RPS has a great influence on you, who else in the chess community, like who else got you into Florida chess, or I guess getting into chess in Florida in general?
well, it started in Jacksonville.
Hmm.
There was a
Did you meet
Jacksonville Chess
Kevin
Club
in
that was.
Jacksonville?
I did, but much later.
Hmm.
When I was younger, like growing up in Jacksonville, that's one of the things that kept me going in chess was getting involved in the local Jacksonville Chess Club, which was thriving. I mean, at the time, I mean, I remember joining the chess club in Jacksonville, and my mom took us to UNF where they had their Saturday meetings, and I
Hmm.
got to know some of the guys there, like Dave Lamb and Andrew Cunanan and others, and they were playing Bruce Furtado, Scott Pfeiffer, and Joe Jackson, Claude Fauché, all these guys, and there was just like a thriving chess club there, so much so that back when I was a kid, there was a place to go and play chess every night of the week at some area around Jacksonville.
Oh wow.
So like on Monday it was like at the Borders Bookstore on the south side. Tuesday was the Fuel Cafe. Wednesday it was at the Books a Million. Thursday was the Books a Million. Wednesday, I can't remember the Wednesday meeting. I never was able to go to the Wednesday meeting because I was always going to church when I was younger.
Yeah.
But on Friday, and then on Friday, I mean, they just had like, and then Saturday was the official, club meeting, which was at UNF,
Hmm.
but it was just like you could go every night to play chess and it was awesome, you know. And then they plugged me into, and I started going to tournaments, and I went to a lot of tournaments with Dave and stuff, and we would go and we would travel and we would go to the tournaments in Orlando, we would go to the
Hmm.
tournaments down South Florida. I was playing in scholastic tournaments down in Miami,
Hmm.
and I just loved going to chess tournaments, and playing, you
Yeah,
know.
and the family is small for the chess world. Like pretty much whenever you go, you know everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also juggling this with doing your own schooling too, correct?
At the time,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, like were you in college at the time while you're doing all these tournaments and such?
so I think when I joined when I oh yeah, when I was doing the tournaments for
Hmm.
sure, I was in high school, started in high school,
Hmm.
was playing in a lot of tournaments throughout Florida, the state level tournaments.
Yeah.
Um, and then went to UCF, got involved in the chess club there. Eventually became president of the chess club at UCF. Handed that off. We really grew the chess club at UCF.
Hmm.
It was thriving there even before I got there, but we took it to another level. And John Miniello took over for me, and then he passed on the torch. And at some point, I remember coming to a tournament one time years later, and there was 6 of us former presidents of the UCF Chess Club that were all at this tournament, and we were like, man, like this is a nice historical lineage of all of the chess
Yeah.
former chess presidents at the from UCF,
Hmm.
and so and it was after I graduated from college is when I got uh, involved with serving on the FCA board.
Gotcha. Actually, that's pretty funny that you mentioned that point because I had something similar happen in 2018. All the former presidents of the Florida Atlantic University Chess Club, we actually made first, second, and third place in the U1800 section.
There you go. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. All former presidents got were the top
Hmm.
three. So yeah, that's kind of funny. All right, thank you so much for your introduction there. Glad to get to know more about you. I'm sure viewers as well. And viewers, feel free to ask questions. Bowman, that's why he is
Yeah.
here.
Well,
Um,
one of the things so how Kevin came into the picture
yeah.
is when I actually moved back to Jacksonville after my time at UCF for a period of time, and I had seen after being gone away for so many years, and I come back to Jacksonville, the chess club had died out more
Hmm.
or less. There were very few meetings, and not a lot of people were meeting. They were and one year they were. It seemed like at the only time that they would be meeting was for was for the city championship,
Right.
right? And one year it was even at risk that I was like, man, we're not even going to have a city championship. No one's wanting to organize it. No one's wanting to put it on. So I took it upon myself. I said, that can't happen. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Right.
I'm going to put it on. And so I guess that was like the first event I ever organized was the city championships. Can't remember the year, but and then I did it again the next year, and that's when I met Kevin,
Hmm.
and he started getting involved. And I say, hey, look, I'm probably going to be leaving Jacksonville again. I got a job lined up and stuff. I need someone to take over because I can't let this chess club die. This is my home chess club,
Right.
right? This is my, this. And I explained to him how like it used to be much bigger and thriving and everything. And so then he took the reins of the Jacksonville Chess Club and just did a phenomenal job. And I felt so relieved actually that I felt comfortable leaving, knowing that my chess club was in good hands.
Yeah.
Like it was not going to die out. And he impressed me so much, and he did such a great job. Um, I wanted him to come and serve on the FCA board. I was like, you need to do the same thing that you did for Jacksonville Chess Club. Do it for all of Florida.
Hmm.
You know, and that's what he's been doing for the last. Oh, I guess it's been 3 or 4 years now.
Hmm.
Just and I think we're seeing like just his leadership is tremendous, like
Absolutely.
in just growing the game across our state in areas of the state that were dead. He's revitalized them, so
Yeah, we are very fortunate to have many people like you, like Kevin, like Harvey, who all have this passion for chess, and that rubs off on those who want to work hard and also become a part of the family. So, thank you
hmm
very much for everything that you have done for us in Florida.
so I say my biggest legacy was finding Kevin.
That's a
My
pretty good
biggest
legacy, though, you know?
contribution my biggest contribution to Florida chess was finding Kevin.
Everybody knows Kevin, everyone knows you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's go ahead and hop right into it today. So,
All right. Let's do it.
psychology of competition, and I find this going to be a very interesting topic for today because, in my experience playing against you and with you in chess tournaments, you don't seem to be bothered by the psychology of competition, and I'm curious to see how what goes on in your mind when you're actually going through your tournament games.
Yeah, I wish actually when you had invited me to do this and we were said what we were going to be talking about,
Hmm.
I was like, man, I wish I had some of my old games from way back when I was like a 1200 or so,
Hmm.
when I first started getting the chess, because those would be so much more. Because I have these like defining games in my mind that were like, okay, I learned that at that tournament
Right.
on that specific game. There's one that comes to mind. I had one of my very first tournaments, statewide tournament. I was like 1100 or so, and I'm playing this old guy, and it's the Saturday night round of these, you know, people who know these 5 round tournaments, weekend tournaments. The
Yeah.
Saturday night round, Okay, and this was back when they had the time control was like 2 hours for 40 moves.
Oh
Then you
yes.
get a whole nother 90 minutes for the rest of the year. Something crazy where like
Jeez.
it could go like 8 hours. It was like insane. It was crazy. It was the dark ages of chess. Like you play, the game could go 8 hours. Well, sure enough, this Saturday night game, right, went the distance. It went more than 8 hours because of the delay and everything, right? And we're in this rook and pawn in game, total dead draw, right? I didn't know it at the time that it was a total dead draw, but I know now, like looking back, like, we should have just agreed to draw, like got out there and got some sleep, But
Yeah.
we were both doing pretty well in the tournament. I think we both had like we started off the tournament well, had like either 2 or 1.5 out of 2, something, right? And neither one of us wanted to give up,
Hmm.
right? And I'm sitting there, I'm the young guy, and this old man sitting across from me. I'm like, he's not giving up. He's like, and because of course I overestimated my. I thought I'm winning. I'm going. No, the game's a dead draw. It's so stale. Looking back on it, I wish I had the game to show you, but of course we ended up drawing the game because the game it was just a complete dead draw position, right? But we took 8 hours, and so then I learned from like, you know what? That taught me so much. I was like, endurance matters.
Hmm.
You know, never giving up matters, right? Being able to go the distance matters, right? Uh, and I was just so impressed by that guy that was sitting across from me who had more gray hairs than I could count, but he was like, but he wouldn't give up. He wouldn't quit. It was it was amazing, like just to see. I was like, man, I want to be like that. You know,
Hmm.
I want to be able to have that stamina, that fortitude to just play out a completely stale position, just like milk, like they say, milking water from a stone or whatever.
Hmm. Squeezing water
Um,
from yeah, yeah. And I
so
mean, did either of you offer a draw in
it's
those
a
positions?
competition, It's like chess tournaments really do like is like a sport in that sense, like that competitive nature, just to never give up.
Did either of you offer a draw during that game?
I can't that part I can't remember. I do
Okay.
remember though that we got so low on time that maybe at the end there was either a repetition
Hmm.
or something that ended the game. But we definitely went like I'm telling you, Matt, that we went into like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was insane. The game
Oh
started
my
at
god.
6 o'clock or something, and it went
Hmm.
8+ hours. It was dumb.
Yeah, I feel like that type of game might be a little long for the stream, but you definitely set the stage for that one, so that was really
Yeah.
I was hyped.
Anyway, so the more recent games I have here, I picked 3 games from the 2019 U.S. Open.
Uh-huh.
I remember that I had one of the best results I've ever had at a big tournament like that. So I thought I would share these
Now,
games. And
um, as we're getting uh as we're getting started with this, how did you prepare for this tournament? How did you learn about it? How long before the tournament did you know about it that you were gonna go?
yeah, so I planned to play on it couple like maybe couple months, six
Hmm.
months prior. I think I committed to playing,
Okay.
and I didn't really prepare too much. I all I remember doing was just doing tactics. I was trying to do regular daily tactics, to stay sharp.
Hmm.
My games won't reflect that, by the way. I'm saying that because it's the truth,
Yeah.
but not because it's going to show up in
Okay.
my play. Because you'll see that my games weren't the best. But
Well, could have helped a little bit.
yeah, but that's all I did. I just wanted to make sure that I came out, and actually part of it was I wanted to focus on, like you said, like the meta game, the game that's outside the game.
Right.
Like, can I, like, I wanted to see if I could manage my tournament. Throughout the whole tournament, I was thinking I want to manage my tournament. I don't
Hmm.
want to get bogged down in any one particular result because it's a 9 round tournament. It's one of those like endurance things.
Yeah.
So I made the decision, but well before that I was going to play in the traditional schedule.
Okay.
Okay, so you get 1 game a day at the full time control for all your games.
Okay.
And I said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to like get a place to stay that's not like the expensive hotel because I'm not going to be able to afford to stay at the hotel where the tournament's being played for all those 10 days or whatever, right? And so my uncle let me stay up in his place in Daytona, and I
Hmm.
was just commuting every day, but it was okay because the games didn't start till 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I had set up a rhythm for myself.
Yeah, we got very
I was
lucky that
getting
it
up
was
at
in
the
Florida
same
that year.
time. I was getting up at the same time every morning. I was going through the same routine, eating well. I was on a new diet that I was trying, and I was feeling like strong. And after the games, I went through the same routine. I went back to my car. I put my stuff away. I went, took a nap before I did my drive back. Like I was that kind of stuff, like the stuff that you have to do for a tournament to be able to maintain your focus
Hmm.
between the games. Especially when you have like a tough result. Uh, and those routines can help protect against having those emotional swings after a tough loss, or even the positive tilt. When you have a great win, the positive tilt has to be moderated as well, you know? So those are the kinds of things that were going through my mind for this tournament. Is I wanted to see if I could manage a tough event over a long period of time and not allow any one individual result to affect my play going forward.
Right.
And so that is what I really attribute to my success in this tournament, because I did place. I tied for second for the under. I think it was under 1900 prize, and I scored a good result.
Hmm.
Um,
So having reasonable expectations, not so much too.
Having reasonable expectations, and then managing the tournament.
Right.
In terms of not just the games, but the results and how to handle yourself between the games, making sure you're getting plenty of rest.
Yeah.
You have a routine, a schedule that's keeping you disciplined in terms of, and I think, and managing the emotional aspects of the game as well.
A lot of
Okay.
planning ahead, like chess players do.
Right. Or we should do. I like to think
Hmm.
chess players can be known. We say plan ahead all the time, like it's supposed to teach us this. They say that chess is so great about teaching us all these things about life, right?
Hmm.
We have to remember to do them.
Yeah, that's true. You have to apply it.
Wait, I'm a chess player. I'm supposed to plan ahead. All right. So this first game, this was round two. So I had won a quick early game. For anyone who's played in the U.S. Open, because it's one big open section, you get very high swings round to round.
Hmm.
So I got paired down in the first round. So I was playing I think I ended up playing like a 1400 or
Okay,
so in the
now
first round.
what's is this the open section?
This is the U.S. Open is one big open.
Okay,
Everyone has
gotcha,
to
gotcha.
play in the open section,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so a lot of people like it for that reason, because you have a chance to play a grandmaster or these strong players.
Yeah.
But what it also means is how the Swiss system works is that you go through these swings after about 4 or 5 rounds before the cream rises to the top, and then that's when the real competition between people of your same level starts to occur,
Right.
right? But so in the first round, I got paired down, so I played someone lower, won quickly.
Mm-hmm.
No, but then I knew, okay, next round you're probably going to get paired against a master, and sure enough, I got paired against this um, prodigy.
Yeah. And I find this interesting because you say you decided to take the full experience, do one game a day type of deal. If you finished a game very quickly, how did you go about the rest of your day before preparing for the second day?
So, yep, I didn't use my extra time to go hang out and do other things. I right back to my uncle's house
Mm-hmm.
and just
Your focus was strictly
quiet
tournament.
focus.
I'm here.
Yep.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
was putting my games in the computer just to do a quick check of,
Mm-hmm.
did I blunder anything? Did I miss anything obvious?
Gotcha.
And then I was more or less going to bed early, getting a good night's rest, and just repeating.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right.
try not allowing the outside, because at a chess tournament there's lots of distractions actually.
Yeah.
You have the Skittles room. You can go and do blitz with a number of people, and this is a national event, so there's plenty of people to go. You can go check out the Grandmaster games while they're going on,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. No,
And this was
focus.
strictly you focusing on you and getting the best possible result. Gotcha.
Right.
All right. Go ahead and continue on. Go ahead and fill us in.
Round two, and then this is
All you.
Rathi.
Uh-huh.
I was white, and this is a prodigy. This is a young kid. I think he's like 16, 17, 18 years old, something, but he's already like almost a 2300. And
Wow.
he had a really good tournament as well, by the way. He beat some grandmasters and was having a phenomenal tournament. So this guy was on his game.
Phew.
He actually told me later that my game was probably the one that was the one where he was probably the most lost of the ones that he won.
Oh wow.
Of the games. So this is the game I lost, but I didn't start off very well. So we have like an English,
Mhm.
um, and I didn't really study much of my openings. So my openings throughout the whole tournament were not good.
Okay.
Like, you can see here, I'm already probably, and then with this whole maneuver,
So you
like
you both had to
C5.
play chess pretty much straight from the get-go.
Yeah, and I get to this position like C5, like, um, I even looking at it now, like I still don't understand what I was thinking, because I was
Interesting.
giving up. Yeah, and he just immediately gets like a good position, very quickly, you know. And black has a big center now. I felt obligated to play E4. I don't want to play E4, but I felt like he had that big center. I
Right.
had to, otherwise I'm just gonna get squished. So takes push, and now it's pretty obvious. Black is doing very well in this position.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
So what is the what's going to be the takeaway of this game?
The takeaway for this is, well, we'll see in a second. Like,
Yeah, okay. I'm just
I
curious of the
was already
purpose.
suffering. I was already suffering,
Uh-huh.
right? So the takeaway from this was this set the tone for the rest of the tournament for me.
Okay.
Even though I lost, right? I felt like I fought back against a very strong opponent
Mhm.
from a worse position, and at some point I even had a winning position.
Okay.
Okay. And so that told me when I put it back in the engine that night and I blunder checked it, aside from all this opening nonsense, right, where I got a worse position, my play after that gave me a big jolt of confidence for the
Gotcha.
rest of the tournament. So even though I lost, I felt like I
You're
was going to have a good tournament if I could continue playing like this, because the results will eventually come. I didn't win this game, but
mhm.
if I kept playing this way, I felt like I was going to have some upset wins at some point.
Okay.
So this was a confidence boosting game despite the result.
And a fighter mentality. Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, and to fight from behind. Yeah, to try to stay calm and realize, okay, you're worse, but the game goes on. The
Mhm.
game goes on, and you got to make it difficult for your opponent, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm already
And even now, like within the if we go from here,
Mhm. It feels
right,
like black's great. And then now it's kind of like
here, right, I've
what?
already done some work to make my position better, right?
Mhm.
To get the knight to a blockading square and putting pressure on the e5 pawn,
Mhm.
right? And then he played this move, which I was not understanding, but so now it's like he's helping me, I feel like, but uh and then we get here, and I decided I calculated this all out. I calculated a whole long line here, and I went ahead and went for this pretty forcing sequence,
Mhm.
which I thought was a forcing sequence. Um, the queen is tied to this piece, so it doesn't exactly want to. It doesn't. It only has like maybe one square to keep a hold of the bishop.
Right.
How do I get rid of these arrows? Yeah.
You can just left click anywhere.
So the I had it all depends on the calculation based off of bishop takes queen,
Mhm.
right? Because if I can, what's happening here, right? That's left click, okay. Um, and we'll see. I think I actually outcalculated him here a little bit. I
Mhm.
think he missed a move that I had foreseen when I played this move, bishop b4.
Okay.
So he took, because again, like moving the queen probably isn't best, right? And after the game, he told me that he saw up to here and he thought he was just going to be better.
Mhm.
And he said he didn't consider that move. Okay.
Mhm.
So
A,
I was
a strong
actually
central
looking.
pawn. Yeah.
Yeah, because now black's center is collapsing, right?
Mhm.
He had that. One of the big advantages he had was this connected past d pawn,
Mhm.
but now his center is. I took the the base away from that chain, right?
Yeah.
Now it is giving up an exchange, but given the fact that I already thought I was worse, right?
You
If you're
created
already
practical
worse,
chances.
right, you create practical chances, and that's a net gain.
Hmm.
Even if I'm still worse here, I'm not as worse here. I have some play now,
Yeah.
right? So that's a net win for me. Um, Now, I was already feeling pretty optimistic about this position, actually, but then I started to go wrong.
Okay.
So my initial attention, because I actually got to this position in my head when I played Bishop before,
Okay.
and I can't remember what had intended. I think I had intended just to go pawn grabbing.
Yeah. Which actually doesn't look that bad.
No, and it's best. I'm pretty sure if we turn the engine on,
Mhm.
I think I'm supposed to.
Okay. Yeah, you have your own passer. It's
Maybe
connected.
once knight c6.
Hmm.
All right, the engine knows things that we can't even think about.
Okay. Maybe E5 where it's actually holding on to
But that was my
E6.
initial
Yeah.
intention, right? And then for some reason, when I got to this position, I started getting worried about that D pawn, and I was like, you know what? This knight really belongs on D3.
Hmm.
So I second guessed myself.
One passive move.
Yeah, and then that's just enough for him to start to get the initiative and start to coordinate
Yeah.
his pieces back. And there you go. And the knight comes to G5, and black is fine again. In fact, black's better now again already.
Hmm.
You
But
know,
it still feels like you have some play.
have some play.
Yeah.
You know, game goes on. I ended up going here, which
Hmm.
again, if I'm playing that move, why was I? I was already hitting that pawn from E5. Why would I? So, um, and yeah, and so then he would go on to win the game from here.
Hmm.
The end game is it's just too hard to play, even with the two bishops.
Yeah.
And so that's that game. But I like that whole sequence where starting with bishop b4
Hmm.
and looking at it afterwards, I was able to make something of nothing essentially.
Hmm.
And I gave that guy a tough game, a really strong player, a tough game, and he complimented me on the game afterwards because he recognized that he had missed something in that I was probably winning at some point, or
Hmm.
not winning, but maybe better at some point.
Yeah. You're the one with the
Um,
pull.
I had the initiative at least, if nothing else. Yeah. So that was a
So
confidence booster, even though I lost. I took that for the rest of the tournament. I was like, okay, try to keep playing good chess, and the results will come. You know.
right. Now you admitted that at the beginning your opening was just kind of half,
Yeah.
a below par. If that was your only
Throughout all my games, actually.
Oh, okay. Because I was curious if that was your only weakness, wouldn't that be something that you would focus on, or?
I am actually. Recently. I've been working with a chess coach to improve my openings. That's what we've been focusing on in the last.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
imagine how much
So
more dangerous you would be having a good position and playing from that one.
I'm trying. Yeah. It's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
Yeah.
a
All right.
good, interesting game there, definitely.
Yeah. And we'll see. So in the second game, this is a round 4 game. So this is
Hmm.
again. So again, in round 3, I got paired down again because I
Hmm.
lost in round 2.
Yeah.
You know, won a quick game early against a lower rated player, and now I got paired up again. But now I'm paired up against the 2050-ish player.
Okay.
Okay. The interesting thing about this one now, in terms of the psychology, is there was a moment in the game where the position was very chaotic,
Hmm.
double-edged on the board, and both of us were in extreme time pressure.
Hmm.
Extreme time pressure. So the time control was very long. Like I said, I was playing the traditional schedule,
Yeah.
but we allowed ourselves to both of us to get into extreme time pressure where we were like under 1 minute each,
Wow.
and we still had like 15 moves to make before time control, and we were only getting I think it was a 30-second increment, but even still, when you're looking out and you're like, oh, I got to make like 15 moves, and if you see the position that we were playing, so again,
And then you got to shift gears again once you get the extra time.
yeah, so again, I have a bad opening, okay,
Hmm.
but then I fight back,
Yeah.
um, so so here it's already like, wouldn't everyone prefer black here? I would think.
I mean, a little bit. I mean,
It's not as worse as the last time, because, but like I'm not sure what these pieces are really doing actually. But anyway, so but he didn't play the best either.
Mhm.
So
What I like
simply,
about what I like about your
hmm
game selection is it's unique to what we've had in the past. You have a couple multiple games from the same exact tournament, which is all stems from one particular game. This is very interesting.
okay, yep. Um, so here I knew that if I just sat around and did nothing, I was just gonna get because the center, the space, and he has a little bit more harmony in his, in his pieces and stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think I bluffed him with a b5 push. He
Okay,
played
give me
b5.
3 seconds here. I'm being told that your mic is low. Let me go ahead and turn you up.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Is it better now?
I'll have to find out from the chat.
Okay. Should I wait?
Go ahead and let us know, Josh. Better? Yeah, he says better. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So I go knight h4 because again I got to make something happen, right? Otherwise I'm just gonna get rolled, I think. So he plays queen f6, and I reroute this knight, and everyone knows what I'm. People who know Bowman know I'm gonna throw all the kitchen sink at you if I have to, on the king side. So I get the knight into here, and g4 is already, I think, an interesting because again I'm worse, right? What do I have to lose? He's got the better position, right? So G6, and I actually missed an idea here, which was um, that this tactical idea with the rook also
Yeah.
hitting, and that there's a weak knight here, that I really don't even need to move this knight. But my whole idea with knight h4, knight f5, and g4 was to build up, actually do like a slow build up. So this idea I saw later when I put it in the engine, but it wasn't even on my radar. I wish it would have been, because I don't even have to respond to g6. But anyway, so
Yeah. I
I
mean,
went back to but I've already, like, if you go back to where I had the queen on a4 and the knight on a3, I've already made big improvements, I think, to at least get some sort of play here in terms of my
absolutely.
position, right? So something's gone wrong for black. And then we keep going here, and now he's stranding it. Now I know he wants to come in, but this piece is far from the king side, and I at this point I'm like I'll let my queen side collapse if I can pry open your king, like, but he wasn't. And then this move happened. And I'm just thinking, like, now, okay, now he's like waving a flag in front of a bull, like, come get me, he's saying, because I put this back here and I go for h4, right? Let's just crack him open, you know? He takes intermediate move. Very important. We need some open lines, right? And who do you
This
like here?
this is complicated. In terms of attack, probably white, but that's it.
It's messy, right?
Yeah,
Well,
very messy.
so it was around here when we realized both of us were getting pretty low on time. We weren't at like that critical moment yet where we were under a 1 minute, but we were probably, he was on more time pressure than I was, but we were probably, it was move 32. We have to make it to move 40, right? And I think at this point we were probably, I know he was probably under 5 minutes at this point, but I think I might have been close as well. Um, and it's not trivial, right, to make the rest of the moves here in a position like this. Um, and it gets even worse because it's like, okay, some more moves happen, right?
Everything's hanging.
Yeah, everything's hanging. It's very messy, and you'll see that there's some pressure here, but there's also some stuff lining up here. And if ever this knight comes and takes this, then there's going to be pressure here, and we have this. Like, black has some nasty ideas coming, right? And now we were probably about at 1 minute or less each. But now I guess we only have to make like 5 moves now though.
Okay.
So um,
For those in the YouTube and Twitch chat that don't know, the sound effects you hear in the background are one of the Lee Chess's interesting sound effects that you can add. That is what you're hearing in the
oh, should I
background.
take it off? I don't know how to take it off.
No, no, you're good. It's just in case they're wondering what this strange noise was in the background. That's all.
Yeah, they're the moves.
Yeah. It's just an interesting sound effects you can add it from Lee Chess. Welcome, Stony, to the chat. Thank you very much for the support.
Hey, what's up, Stony?
Thank you for the host as well.
Yeah, and so now I don't think at this point we're not in danger of not making time control, but look at this position now. This is like, so if we talk about the psychology, I walked away from this game feeling very, very confident that one, I could manage the time pressure, right? And two, this messiness I was able to navigate pretty well as well. Not perfectly, but and we'll just see how the rest of this game plays out. But
not fall apart right away.
Exactly, because my position, I'm essentially like letting everything converge onto F2, and I let F2 collapse. Like I'm just like letting Black have his way, but I'm getting my chances as well. So I go for it. You know, I'm letting this cave in, because I have my own play. So we do a little bit of time adding, and then I calculated this in game, and this in game is what saves me actually, because now at least F2 won't collapse with the queen on the board. But it's scary, right? Because now this knight is stranded. It's going to have to take a move to get back into the game, right? And Black's getting his play. And actually, I think Black had at some point, I can't remember if it's here or not. I don't want to put the engine on, but at some point, the Black had a better way to play, because I think I'm not sure if there was a mate here or if there was a forced perpetual, but there's definitely a lot of play here for Black, but that he didn't see it, you know, and he did this, and he just let my king escape essentially. So this is a very important move, as we'll see later. But so here.
Like a game I was seeing like a top players game. Like
imagine having and playing this, you know, and even here, I think we started to get under time pressure again, because the second time control was coming due, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the one to make time control. And so just like handling these complications like that, again, that added to my confidence for the whole event. And the fact that he was higher rated than me, etc., and that I had a bad opening. I knew I was worse out of the opening, but I fought back.
Yeah.
You know, so and so this is a nice, you know, right? Yeah. So he
Even
does.
now you sound tired from looking at this game.
Yeah, no, it's just insane. But he resigned. He resigned here because it's really there's nothing left for him. I have the promotion square covered, and these pawns are just queening now. And so the takeaway from that one, after I won that game, I was like, okay, now I really have like a good tournament coming. Like I'm three out of 4, right? My only loss was to that master, and I can come into the next day and I might even get paired down still, based on just how the sections merge and stuff. I was feeling really good about my event now, and again I thought that this moderating my highs and my lows game to game is starting to pay off, and I'm feeling good about my chess.
Okay.
So this one was more the handling of the time pressure and handling the complications of a messy, wild sort of position. Being able to just use your calculation skills to see your way through it as much as possible and know that the other guy also doesn't see it fully, completely also.
Mm-hmm.
So, play chess, don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So fast forward now. So the next few set of rounds, it was just, if I got paired up, I lost. If I got paired down, I won, right? But I had this one upset win that gave me like sort of an extra point. So then when we get to the last round, this game, I knew the tournament situation now. If I win this game, I have a chance to win the money, right? So this is the money round. And so this game, the takeaway is going for it when it counts,
Okay.
right? This is the last round. I know I have to win. I have to win because there is one person who is a point ahead of me, but he's getting paired way up. So I'm expecting him to lose. And so then if I can win, I'll tie with him and he and I will tie for first for the prize. Okay?
Okay.
So I have to win. And we get into a position where I have to make a decision whether to go for it and play for a win or to play more conservatively and try to maybe hold the position and play for a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I decided to go for it. And I felt I was happy for myself for going for it because, later I did end up winning the game and getting the result I needed. Unfortunately, the guy that I thought was going to lose to the high rated player didn't lose. And so he ended up getting first
Oh,
and I only got share of second. But
still decent.
that's outside your control, right? So you just
Yeah.
got to do what you can do. So we play. This ends up being. It ends up transposing to like a good sort of Benoni kind of structure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'll just breeze through the opening moves here. I hunt down this dark square bishop.
A
Now
Benoni
that was something
structure
that I
for a
had.
London player is a nightmare.
Yeah, that's something I did have prepared. That was one thing. Is like in these types of structures, if you can hunt down that dark square bishop, that's supposed to be an advantageous a thing for black. Um, enough so to even justify the h6 g5 pawn push that move that bishop back to g3. At least
Mm-hmm.
that's my understanding. I'm not
Okay.
sure, but I think so. Um, so then we get and so then he plays d5, and so this is where we get to this like this queenside this pawn structure here,
Okay.
right? Is similar to like you see in a Benoni kind of, right? Um, so we play some moves, and so I get. And now here I'm already feeling pretty optimistic about my position because again in the if ever you get this b5 move in, you should be doing at least okay, right? In a
Okay.
Benoni.
I don't play these
So
structures, but I'll take your word for it.
okay, yeah, this is a lot of the times in the Benoni, this pawn actually comes here and then even to here sometimes just to stop black from getting this b5 uh, pawn push in.
Gotcha.
Okay. Because white actually wants to have access to this square, and now I'm I'm controlling that square. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the idea, I think. So anyway, so he goes on these like maneuvers with his knight to reroute his knights, and so I just build up my position. I feel like that was a favorable exchange for me. And then this is what I was talking about. Like I decided to play c4, make that pass pawn, and play around promoting that pass pawn, playing for a win. I didn't have to go for that. I mean, I'm giving up squares to do that. I'm isolating my c pawn by doing that. So there's pros and cons. But if I'm gonna play this position for a win, I feel like that's the way I need to go about it. And so I was happy with myself after the tournament that I got to that money round. I was happy that I put myself in a position to be able to play that money game, right? That I managed my tournament good up to that point, and then to in the money situation when it counts, I win for it.
Okay.
You can't do all that work up to that point and then shy away from going for it, right?
Yeah.
So now I have this passed, isolated, potentially weak C pawn, but also passed pawn. Uh, and so play revolves around this pawn now. Is this a weakness? Is this a strength? Etc. And okay, I want to keep my bishop. He gets the knight to d4, a nice outpost. How do you judge this position, man? I'm curious to say, like, what's your?
Uh,
I know I hadn't given it to you ahead of time,
no,
so
you're
I'm,
good. You're
I'm
good.
asking for
So I
like
like
a.
the harmony of white's pieces are nicer than black's at the moment, but the fact that white has to stay tied down to the c pawn is really annoying. Um, if black's able to start untangling, it feels like black would have the better position.
Yeah, because exactly. I think I agree. I mean, I do have this rook behind the pawn, which is nice, but other than that, like black's pieces, I agree with you. This piece
He's
is
about to
the
become a
most.
monster on c6, though.
It's the best. It's the best piece on the board,
Yeah.
objectively. I mean, I think, yeah. So it all comes down to black's play with this pawn. Is it a weakness? Is it a strength, etc. Right? Yeah. Curiously, how do you feel about this bishop? I'm just curious.
um, he'll support the knight on c6. That's all I can really see. I
Right.
don't I don't see him being of any use to stopping the c pawn at all. At all. Like maybe go to d3, but that's it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Um, I mean it's kind of messy on both sides.
We're seeing a theme in my play, I guess. I like
Messy
the
play.
messy.
You like positions that force you to think, that force you to make
Yeah.
a decisive result.
Yeah. That's how I was raised in my chess. Yeah. Coming from Jacksonville, we all were playing like that back in the
Gotcha.
day. It was pretty messy across the board in Jacksonville back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah. So he brings the knight in.
No, what I like about playing against you, Bowman, in Blitz and classical chess is that you create practical problems for your opponent.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's where I could be difficult for some players, especially ones that are higher rated than me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not
I mean,
going to
chess
get
players
pushed
are lazy.
over. I still might lose a lot, but I'm not going to get like steamrolled.
Yeah.
Usually not.
A lot of chess players are lazy, and you make sure that they're not. Keep them honest.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's the teacher in me.
Yeah.
Do the same thing with my students.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you think about it now?
It's about the same. I don't see a clear change just yet. I mean, once this knight hops into d2 or b2, it's going to be pretty rough, but hard to say. It's still messy.
How do I make progress?
I don't know. Knights. I mean, just put your pieces on strong
What was my
squares.
last move? What was the intention behind my last move?
Probably to play it to d2 or
No, we want to push. We want to get the pawn rolling, right?
I mean, there's a fork also.
Well, yeah, I'm threatening
No,
a fork, but
no,
more than a fork, right? I'm breaking the blockade, right? Like I want to get this. I want to get control of these squares, right?
Okay, specifically light square control. Gotcha.
Yeah, I want to at least have the option to make this pawn mobile, right? Removing the blockade. So that's my intention. Okay, the fact that it comes with a tempo on with a threat of a fork, I mean that's just cherry on top in my opinion. I mean, I'm happy about that. But so he comes in. So I think this is a good practical idea. Whenever you're faced with a threat, you should try to like find the way out of it that like, doesn't just concede the initiative like totally,
Yeah, trade the attackers.
So he's trading a pair of rooks. I think that's a good practical. But I go in anyway. So again, because my point was just to remove the blockade, right? Because now we're mobile, right? And this knight, remember that was the knight that was on that square.
Okay. looking pretty rough for white. All I can
Yeah,
really say here.
progress has been made, right?
Hmm.
So these were just a few moves because I didn't want to like hang. I felt really, really good about my position. I was like, I can't blunder anything now. I'm playing for the money. It's
Hmm.
the last round. We're having a good tournament. I don't want to blunder anything, so I just get full safety first. Um,
What is up,
that's a
Jude?
blunder. That's a blunder.
Hmm.
He blundered. That's a blunder. Do you see what's the move?
Like
Don't
queen
look
D.
at the yeah.
I'm thinking queen D2 or queen B2 here.
Queen B2 is the better, yeah.
Oh,
But
it's a
just
fork.
to again, it's a fork.
Yeah.
So he resigned. Yeah. Curiously, if he hadn't blundered that Queen A6, um, does this remove the blockade? It looks like it does, right? I don't see how he. So he's probably lost already anyway, right?
Yeah. And to Droid
I
Rank
think
in the
so.
chat, yeah, my mic is low because Bowman's was low earlier, so I had to adjust
Yeah,
stuff.
I think
Sorry.
it's worth noting that, like we said, that bishop doesn't do anything to stop that pawn.
Yep.
But also this knight, if it would have stayed on d4, it would have been blocking this bishop, and the queen would have been able to have access to the b2 square. After queen d2, queen b2 would have held the rook
Right.
and maintained. There would have been more work for black to do to promote that pawn.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't. The whole knight c6, and then when he had to play rook b8, that was all a very bad sequence for him, right?
Hmm.
Anyway, so that was my U.S. Open. I feel like those were the three critical rounds for me especially in terms of like the psychology and the lessons that I've taken away.
Yeah.
The first game was a loss can still be a confidence booster. Okay, I
Right.
actually got a confidence boost from that second round loss. The second game was also a confidence booster, but for a different reason. It was the managing of the clock and managing of a messy position,
Hmm.
right? And then the third round game was going for it when it counted, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean Bowman's a strong player, dude. I'm talking to the chat here. Droid Rank is saying such high level play. He can be really on point when he's on point.
Yeah, well, that was with. I don't think my games across the board were that good. Like these games, round 4 and round 9 were decent games, but you can see round 2 like wasn't super strong. I did have a good sequence there of moves, but I feel like I could be better. There's still a lot of areas of improvement, especially with my openings and other things. And John and I were playing earlier today, and you wouldn't believe the end game that I blundered. So like, I
I
appreciate the
mean,
compliments, but
John is super solid too,
I
especially
had
in game.
I had um, king and f pawn on the 7th rank against his king and queen,
Hmm.
right? With his king being far away, and I'm supposed to just I was supposed to move my king into the corner, so I was supposed to go like king g7. I went king e7.
Yeah.
So now I don't have king h8
To do
to
the
have
stalemate
stalemate
trick.
tricks.
Yeah.
That's what I blundered.
How'd you?
That's what I blundered, by
That's
the
an
way.
elementary mistake. No, I'm just kidding, bro.
Exactly. No, to me, that's an elementary mistake because that's a classic. That's a classic stalemating in-game trick against the king and pawn versus king and queen. If it's an f pawn,
I mean, when you're
go
under
to
pressure,
h8.
though, it's hard.
Yeah, I was kicking myself earlier today. I was like, man, how did
That's
I
why
do
both.
that?
That's why both sides got to fight on.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. Yeah, you. So I do have one more game. Do we have time?
It's
This
on
is my
you.
favorite game. This is my favorite game ever.
Hopefully,
Just
there's not an
because
echo, guys. I turned my mic back up.
this was my game against. This is the game I played against the highest rated player I've ever played against, and I actually had a decent game. So this, if I ever do like my 60 memorable games, this is number one for sure. Uh, so this was a game I played in Miami in 2017. It was a rapid game against, and the tournament organizers had sponsored Linier Dominguez to come play in this event with the players in Miami. So,
Hmm.
and he was really gracious, and he came out and he played with us in this relatively small event in Miami organized by Diego Milla. Um, and we're talking about like a 2,800 plus rated player, coming out into play with. There were a few other grandmasters there too, but I mean, like, really awesome that he would come play with us. And I happened to face him in round one. So and this was that. So this was that game. I
All
was
right.
white. Um, so he's playing a Queen's Indian, and so where's the first critical moment? I think probably. Oh yeah, probably here.
Mm-hmm.
So Rook D1. When he played Knight F6, I thought this would be a good exchange for me. Because he couldn't take with the D pawn. It's counterintuitive to take with the D pawn anyway because he's taken away from the center.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought taking that the fact that he had to recapture with the B pawn meant that I at least like this pawn's isolated. There is still this pressure now on this pawn, which is backward. So and I've opened up this battery now that this pawn's not in the way anymore. So I was already feeling okay with my position up till this point.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not sure how you stop d5 though.
Yeah, well, if he ever plays d5, then c5 though is then a little weak too. So I'll go ahead and exchange these bishops. He plays queen b6, so e4. Now I'm cramping it down, right?
Aniket
Okay.
says hello to you.
Oh, hey, Aniket, how you doing? I think Aniket will like this game. This was against Linear Dominguez, Aniket. So, and then here, actually, I think if I remember correctly, like this is already like, yeah. Look at what. Oh, so it's not that bad. I was gonna say I thought I remember this being like a little uncomfortable with this play, throwing this a pawn down the board to just blow open my queen side, but I guess it's not too bad. Okay, let's turn the engine off. So I do this. I don't know what this was all about, but it ended up working in my favor a little bit because we get to this position. We get to this position, and he plays here, and I just go back. And I remember thinking, because then he goes back, so I go back, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna draw. I'm gonna draw Linear Dominguez with a repetition. No, what? No, are you dumb? Yes, I'm dumb. Of course, he plays on. What am I thinking? All right, so he goes back, but now he goes back, and it's a little different. Okay,
Slightly improved.
I take, and play b4. And it's another, just like in my game against Vithrathi, I see one move further than my opponent, and that's just enough. Okay, so I calculated this whole sequence here, and starting from this move because that's a pretty committal move, right?
Right.
Takes, and I knew he was going to play that. That's the obvious move, right? Skewering here, here, right? If takes, there's no time for this because of the back rank, or is there? Because he does have. Let's see what happens. So he actually decides to do this. It's the same. It's going to come out to the same thing though, because takes, check, bishop f8, and starting from b4, I think we both got to this position when I played b4.
Okay.
But I saw that before playing b4, I saw that I had this move in this position, and this threw him through a bit of a tizzy. Like he was like, "What? What?" He told me after the game that he missed this move.
Surprised that it worked.
Yeah. So the probably biggest compliment I got in chess was coming from Leonardo Dominguez. Said that he missed the move that I saw. Like, it's still a so he has to find the right sequence of events here to draw this position.
Right.
Okay. Because I go here, and now he has to take that to survive. takes, and we play this in game.
It's just
This
amazing
is a
how
draw.
strong people are. You know, they find the
This is a draw.
best way to consolidate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he saw this position when I played bishop before, and he
Hmm.
sat and thought, and he went all the way down to like less than a minute on his clock or so, and realized that this position is tenable for him. He's built a fortress. He has
Yeah.
a dark squared fortress here, essentially. And so what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to create a light squared fortress because he has a dark squared bishop. And I actually do that. So the next sequence of moves, eventually I get all these pawns on to light squares. So now I essentially have a light squared fortress, especially with the king coming. Actually, I should have. Well, no, it's still
Yeah, but
dead draw,
Carlson
right?
says you don't believe in fortresses.
No, but this, yeah, he told me after the game this is just a dead draw position. Once all the pawns get to light squares, it's a dead draw.
Hmm.
Um, what am I supposed to play here?
I don't know, the G pawn can get scary very quick.
Yeah. So if I just go back,
Yeah, probably like Rook C7
this is just a draw.
or just King back. Yeah, anything to get over there.
Hmm. How does he make? How does Black make progress? Black's the only one I guess that can make progress because of the past pawns. But how does
Right.
he make progress? You
Right.
know. Um, Now I look. Of course, I don't play that. Otherwise it'd been the best game of my life. Uh, I thought I could flag him. Now there's a 5 second delay, but he has less than 5 seconds on his clock, starting from like this position.
Hmm.
He had less than 5 seconds on his clock, more or less playing on the delay. Okay, I had 5 minutes on my clock.
Hmm.
He plays the whole rest of the game
On the delay.
within the
Yeah.
on the delay and beats me because I over pressed. I tried to keep the game alive to try to flag him.
Hmm.
No, you know, because
Went
now it's already just lost.
where you went for too much. That's a
Yeah,
shame. That's a shame, dude.
that's a tough one, right?
But it's something that you learn from too.
Yeah, I'm happy. Like it's my favorite game. Just because like with Queen, where is it? Bishop B4 or no B4,
Hmm.
and the fact that I got all the way to seeing Bishop B4 and he didn't. And after
Hmm.
the game, he said that he missed uh, Bishop B4
Hmm.
was like the best compliment I've ever gotten in chess. You know,
Hmm. Congratulations.
and
That's awesome.
he's such a nice guy too, like the most gracious, humble guy. Um, you wouldn't even believe. Like it was just an honor just to even meet him and play him.
Hmm.
But yep. All you
Awesome, dude.
imagine all the other players were coming around watching my game. They're like, "Man, what's going on with this? What's happening with Linaire?" But yeah, it was fun. So
Hmm.
yeah,
2017 too. Wow, a while ago.
yeah, and a rapid game too. Like he was at one point the highest rated rapid player in the world. So
Oh snap!
yeah.
Nice job, dude. That is an excellent compliment. Well, that was a very interesting interview, dude. I mean, I learned a lot. And especially, I hope the viewers did too when it comes to tournament mindset throughout in full tournaments, actually. And like I said
Manage your
earlier,
tournament.
yeah,
Manage your tournament.
manage your tournament. This is a very unique interview in that sense that no one has shown more than one game from the same tournament and
Mm.
thought process throughout. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing this with us,
You're
Bowman.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Any questions like in the chat or I still got
so
like some time.
yeah, Interview Thursday is kind of light when it comes to viewers, but they definitely see them on YouTube. Um, they get hundreds of views, so definitely on there. Bowman, feel free to go ahead and leave some information if you like. You do lessons at all for chess, or if there are things you also do other than chess that you do tutoring in.
Well, I do math and physics tutoring. If
There you
anyone's
go.
interested,
He
I'll
loves it.
type in the chat. That I'll give my email address.
Yeah, go for it.
Just oh wait a minute, hold on.
Yep. And just some closing notes here, guys. Thank you again for tuning in with us tonight. It was definitely great to see Bowman. Again, is it Gmail?
Gmail.com. Yep.
Okay.
William C. Bowman at gmail.com.
Okay, cut the Gmail part, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Venkat fan wants to give me a math problem.
I ain't go for it, dude. And we have a very special guest coming in next week as well. Her name is Shayesta. Can't pronounce her last name. I've tried really hard, but she is a women international master who will be joining us next week. So definitely tune in for that as well. I tried getting her last month, but for some reason, Google Docs was like, or Google Calendar thought I put it a month later. So whatever. hashtag technology. So anyway, this will be on YouTube. Go ahead and tune in again on Tuesday for Tournament Tuesday for Lee Chess, Palm Beach Chess, and thank you again, Bowman. Hope you have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Good luck with your students and the parents.
It's nice reminiscing about Florida chess in the old days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great that you for what you have done for Florida.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, man. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night. Good evening.